Hey you guys, what's up? Welcome back to another video. I've been out cruising around in the mountains here. I'm actually looking for a flat, shady spot to do some cooking. And so far, 2 hours in, nothing. This is the very, very hilly, mineral-rich mountains that super fun to off-road, but not the best for camping if you want a flat spot. But hey, got the Land Cruiser 80 out today. This thing's a tank. It's so funny because yesterday I actually went out in the Lexus. I took about a 3-hour round trip kind of north into some different mountain area. It's funny going back to back, really getting a feel for two different types of four-wheel drives. You know, the Lexus is like a, you know, a modern day kind of 4Runner or FJ Cruiser, or, you know, even like a Tacoma. This thing is totally different. You know, it's slow, it's like a pig, but man, it's super tanky, right? So I've been cruising around through all these undulating hills in low range, just cruising, and then some of the hills are pretty steep going down, so you know, put it down, lock it into first gear, and let the engine braking do all the work. It works really good. Found some pretty cool areas. Actually went down some tracks that I haven't gone before. Wind is still going. Wind is pretty good. I was gonna cook. I'm not sure. If I can find a spot, I may fire up some cooking, but this wind, what I was gonna cook today requires about 25 minutes worth of simmering, I think. And with the wind, that would be really tough unless I could get down in kind of a valley somewhere. I hope the camera kind of picks up like these hills here. It goes up, flats up, and then all the way up to the top up there. Right here is a drop off I've showed you guys before. It's basically unpassable in the wintertime when there's snow and ice because it stays in the shade, and it's super steep, very narrow, and it falls off into a creek. Well, I just came up it in the 80, and it's been a while since I've been able to come up it because this area here, no, it's, you know, probably been 8 months or so, but maybe last time I was here I didn't actually go up it. But surrounded once again, mountains everywhere. Coming up this way, you transition from this big mountain to the mountain I'm on now, and I maybe got some footage for you kind of over the shoulder showing you what it looks like dropping down into the creek and then coming up the hill. It's actually pretty cool. Well, that was interesting. Cooking in that wind was, there was no such animal as simmer. It was either on or off. So because I had to run it more closer to a boil than a simmer, I had to add a little bit of water in at the end because it had basically boiled the water off about 7 minutes too fast. I find that the jambalaya, it's got good spices, but it's not like hot spicy enough for me, so I just add some couple shakes of Cholula in there. I'll do it right before it's finished, and then if that's not enough, I'll do it like just before I eat it, and it's perfect. I mean, I like that hot sauce myself. And I like to cook with my stuff, it's like a lot about texture, right? You can even take one of your favorite meats, and if it's not cooked correctly, it just doesn't do it for me, you know? So the texture, I like to really brown these up. Some are a little black, which is perfect, gets crispy. Then I let them cool a little bit. Then I dump them over into the rice. I don't cook them in the rice. I like to cook them separately. The Polish sausage, kind of a weird mixture, I guess. It's very convenient. That one's a little burnt. It's very convenient to get the Polish sausage rather than like andouille sausage or something like that, but it works really good. I've been wanting to make a jambalaya for about 3 or 4 weeks now. When I went to go out the last time, I don't remember what stopped me. And then the wind has stopped me for 3 weeks, so today was a perfect combination. I'm out here, I had everything, and I was really hungry, so I said, screw the wind, I'm gonna try it. And I don't know if any of you guys noticed, and I kind of thought about it as I was doing it. I put my table right next to my fill for my gas tank. Might not be the best spot for it, because there are vents that come up there, right? Not that big of a deal, I guess. Especially with the wind blowing, but something to keep in mind. I never smell gas at all from this. When I got it, everything was messed up, right? If you guys saw any of my kind of shop videos about this, I replaced the fill, the rubber fill. I replaced the rubber vents. This is going from the fill point to the tank. I replaced the tank because it was leaking, and I replaced the charcoal canister up here because it was completely plugged up. No, they don't make charcoal canisters for these anymore. And so I had to get an AC Delco one that was recommended on the forums that basically was the same size. I just one of the fittings, instead of being on the bottom, was on the top, which is no big deal because it's just rubber hose. And since then, it's been perfect. I knew that this usually makes a couple of servings. Well, for me, a couple of servings. What I love to do when I make this at home is we'll both eat, and then there'll be some left over. I put it in the Tupperware, or whatever it's called, the snap lock thing, and heat it up later. I put I use paper plates like exclusively because I hate doing dishes. I put another paper plate over the top of it. When you heat it back up in the microwave, it kind of captures the steam. But Sharon was telling me about the whole thing with rice is to put a wet paper towel over it to reheat it. Because when it comes to like fried rice or white rice or anything like that, if I don't eat it like right when it's made and hot, I basically throw it away because I hate it reheated. So I got to try that wet paper towel bit. I mean, my theory is sound, but wet paper towel creates its own steam. I might put a wet paper towel and the other thing on there, and it might be good as like when you first make it. What's funny is when you're cooking, when you're doing anything that requires like boiling water, especially like cooking rice, it's really weird up here at elevation. I'm not just talking about where I'm at right now. I'm talking about at my house. My house is 5,250 feet above sea level. So if it says you need, you know, 16 mil or you need 2 cups, you almost have to add, you know, another 6 mils to it, because I don't know what it is. The elevation and the boiling and all that stuff, there's something about it. And if you do it exactly to their numbers, exactly to their time, it'll be hard as a rock still. You have to cook it longer with more water. And so I've just gotten used to it over the 5 years that I've been here now, to where that's like that last little splash. That was the extra water because it had boiled away all the other stuff and it wasn't quite finished yet. I'm gonna go ahead and finish this up. Woo, that was really good. And I got this much left over for tonight at home. Yeah, this Snapware, these things are awesome. They snap on all 4 sides, totally leak proof. I love them. That's a lot of food left. I'm this is a Crystal Geyser. So these are in this it's a, you know, like a, what has it got in it? It's got some Mountain House meals, it's got cutting boards, it's got like an emergency blanket, it's got water, it's got like a solid fuel stove. You know, it's something to have, and a first aid kit, something to have if I'm just out off-roading. I got one in each vehicle. Basic kit, but say you break down and you thought you were only going to be gone an hour. It's one of those things. Well, this bottle's probably been in there 2 years, so it's good to swap your water out, you know. So I'm drinking this water, and then when I get home, I'll put fresh bottles in there. It's still fine. It's not in the sun, you know, it's inside the bag, so that helps a lot. Tell you, I love the tailgate on these Land Cruisers. It's so, like, I put everything away, put my chair away, and like, I don't want to leave yet. I still want to just sit here a little bit. But working off of it and sitting on it, being a truck guy all my life, it reminds me, you know, it's very, very comfortable. It feels normal to me to have a tailgate, because that's what I loved about trucks too. I used to always work off my tailgate in the field when I was doing, you know, workout where there's nothing, there's no buildings, no tables, no nothing, and all you have is your tailgate. And I got a lot of stuff done over the years on the tailgate. But I'm a little bit surprised that this came out. I mean, look, we're not talking about rocket science here. It was, you know, jambalaya. You boil some water and cook some rice and, you know, heat up and crisp up some Polish sausage. But with the wind blowing, it doesn't matter what you're cooking. It could take your flame away. And this little Coleman thing that I got, it's pretty beat up, but it works. And it seems to do pretty good against the wind. The wind is blowing, you know, like this. It was kind of blowing across from the sides. So it did okay. I only got a little bit of dust in my food. Most of it was off the, you know, the back, because everything comes around, sticks to the back. It really fine talcumy, powdery dust. But other than that, man, this was a blast. I'm glad I finally got to cook again. And it worked out, like I said, because I was actually pretty hungry. I didn't eat breakfast. I did some stuff this morning. Had to move vehicles around to be able to get this one out of the garage. And took off, and I wasn't sure this area was going to be open for me to come up in here, but when I saw it was open, I don't know, I was driving around an hour and a half or so just enjoying the Land Cruiser through these trails. The forest roads in here, they're not really forest roads, they're fire roads. They're just for emergencies. They're not maintained, they're not driven on very much, and being that it's a very hilly, rocky area, it makes for a lot more interesting off-roading through the forest than, say, where I was yesterday, where it's still got ruts and bumps, but not the rocks and the hills. It's a lot more flat up there, even though you're way up in the mountains. Well, hope you guys enjoyed this one. For me, you know, for me it was a long time coming. I actually had that box of jambalaya in the cooking bin for a month. I don't usually like put it in there and leave it, you know, as I kind of prep for each trip, but it worked out. And I had pre-measured water from home in my Nalgene, which actually worked really good because, you know, out here I only have these bottles, and you don't want to go through 2.5 of these bottles. That's for drinking purposes. So to be able to fill up the Nalgene at home and bring the water out worked out too. All right, you guys, that's gonna do it for me. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Like I said, it was the wind that made this interesting. At least it did to me, and it turned out good because I don't like overcooked rice and I don't like undercooked rice. The rice has got to be just right, and luckily for me, it was. All right, you guys, that's it. Thanks for watching.